start the recording. I'm going to go over this real quick. So, does everyone see something on their screen saying recording starting?
Yes.
Cool. Does everyone still see my Revit screen?
Yep.
All right. So again, I just wanted to quickly go over Zoom Fit, which ZF on your keyboard is Zoom Fit. Okay, if you're really zoomed into something or you're really far out and you can't find your drawing, this is a reset home button. ZF, and it'll bring you right back to the basic layout of what you've drawn. Okay. The other thing I want to go over is if you use your middle mouse wheel and you click down on it, you can use it to pan up, down, left, right. So you can use that in conjunction with Zoom to get this exactly where you want to be on your screen. All right. So Kat has a little issue with some windows, so we're going to go ahead and take a look at her screen. Hopefully.
I'm trying to share the screen. It says I can't share while
Oh,
you're
okay. Here, I'll stop the share. I thought I. Okay, there you go. Try it one more time.
okay. Um,
All right. So what you're doing. Okay, perfect. So there's no issue with what you're doing right now,
okay.
except for the fact that, well, okay. Well, there is an issue.
Okay.
So you should be getting that symbol, right? Right now, the do not enter, don't whatever, right? I can't do this symbol. You should be getting that anytime you are not over a wall. So right now it wants to place that window on a wall and it's saying, hey, there's no wall for me to host to. So
Okay.
let's figure out what the second part is because you should be able, when you hover over that wall, it should be placing. So let's go. Oh, there you go.
Okay. So
I think you
there,
were just too far zoomed out.
so is this the only, is there a way to get dimensions from the other side? Like, or is it gonna always default from, like, why is it defaulting from that point rather than like the outside?
What do you,
I, you
why?
know,
Okay. Well, those dimensions are just what's called a temporary reference dimension. That's not a real dimension. That's just saying, hey, this is how far this is kind of away right now. The biggest thing you want to do, let's go ahead and drop four windows on your left wall.
oh, okay. So really what you want is just like for right now is
I
you
want
need
you to
to know.
place the window. Oh, sure, you could place two of them there. Go ahead and place one roughly.
Okay, I was trying to follow the plans exactly.
I know you are, but those once you click and set that window, that dimension will disappear.
Okay,
So now move one over. Okay, do perfect right there.
okay,
Okay, now hit escape.
okay.
Now hit escape twice. All right. So now let's go ahead and dimension this for you real quick.
Oh,
Go to annotate because
okay.
those dimensions are only dimensions that show up when you click on that element. They're actually not that they'll
Oh,
never print. Right? That's just they're saying this is a temporary dimension for you. This is roughly how far away this is. So let's go use that align dimension on the left-hand side of your ribbon right now.
okay,
Okay. And okay, so we're gonna make 4 clicks. Okay, I want you to zoom in and click on the center line of the left wall. We're going to
okay,
start left to right. So center line of your left wall. Go
okay.
all the way over. Your the wall going north south
Oh, center line of the left wall. I'm sorry.
of that wall right there.
Okay,
Perfect. So click that. Now zoom back into your windows. Perfect. Now we want center line of the window. There you go. Click center line of the next window. Click. And then center line of the final wall. Nope, so that is the edge. So go ahead and hover over the edge again and click.
okay,
That'll pull that dimension out. Now we want just that one right there. All right, so go ahead and bring that down.
okay.
Bring it underneath your windows. Oh,
Like here.
click that center line again to get the center line.
Okay,
Okay, now drag that way down, way down.
okay.
Okay. Now click anywhere in the white space and you'll set your dimension. So go ahead and click right there. Perfect. Now hit escape because we no longer need to be in the dimension tab.
Okay.
So hit escape again twice. So twice, escape is typically always twice. It's once to exit the current command, another time to exit the actual command. So like once to get out of, what dimensioning this item, but you're still in dimension with your next click. If you hit escape twice or just get in the habit of double escape, you'll get back to the beginning every time. So
Okay.
go click on one of those windows. So this is where it gets really cool. So go
Okay. So
click.
I'm gonna look, I can adjust it to 310, can I?
You can, but you don't do it that way. Stop,
Okay.
stop, stop. So what we want to do is we want to actually click not the dimension, but the window itself.
Okay.
And now that dimension below activates. So click into that 3, 3 and type in what the dimension that you want. Perfect. So now click your next window. And what's the space between?
Oh, between, okay.
Either one. You can go either way, right? I gave you dimensions to go, so you can go, and there you go. And that's 310.
And it's already good. Okay.
All right. So go ahead and using that same methodology, let's place windows around the rest of your building.
Okay.
But that reference dimension is only there as a quick guide.
So you basically, so when you're putting the first, I could put these next 3 windows down on the left wall anywhere really to start out with.
Absolutely. You don't
Okay.
need to place them. And that was one thing that I was trying to get at with. So in AutoCAD, it's pretty important to try to like place something in a spot and then move it a particular distance so you know how far away it is from something. In Revit, you can just dimension it and activate the dimension when you click on that window, and it'll move to anywhere you want.
3.
So now do keep in mind that the windows, and I don't know exactly which way they're going. I think how you have them is right. Okay. But see how that window, you can kind of see the glazing on the left there. Whereas if you highlight, go up just a little bit north on the wall and go to the right. So see how it wants to, don't click, but see how it wants to drop there. So just analyze where you're dropping that window because you want to drop that glass by the outside wall. Okay, so it'll flip left or right depending on how close you are to one side of the wall or another. Okay, you can always flip it back later with the flip arrows. So not a huge deal if it's wrong. Okay, so go ahead and just place it like that.
Well, I already did the 3.
Well, we can delete one.
Okay. So we got
Place one more above it and place it on the wrong side.
on the wrong side. Got it.
Yep,
Okay.
right there. Okay, hit escape now. And you can always click that window, hit escape again twice. Sorry. Twice
Oh, no,
escape to exit the
okay.
command.
Okay, escape. Got it.
All right, now see how that little arrow comes up when you highlight it?
Yes.
That will flip left and right. So if you drop it one way or another, you can always fix it. Okay. But that's what that arrow does. And you can just delete. Perfect. Now we're back to where you need.
Okay.
I'm having some trouble with my align tool. Can you check
Yep.
me out real quick?
Yeah.
Absolutely. Thank you.
I'll stop. Oh my God. I'm sorry.
What did you just? Oh, well, don't just make sure you don't close out of it by accident.
No, I almost did.
I know. I saw. I did that. I've done that many times.
I was like, I just want to quit sharing.
Okay. Whose screen do I got now?
That's Tom's, me. So
Hey.
I got the align tool up here, but
What are you trying to? So what are you trying to align?
I want to align these windows up
Align them where?
according to the drawing. I mean,
So that's what we were just working on. So your align tool would work. If you click that and then click the center of the window, it's going to do exactly what the align tool is telling it, which is going to move that window to the center of that wall.
every time I do it,
I don't think you would like to do it. So if you were just looking at what we did with Cat, we just did this exact same thing. So go ahead and hit escape. Hit escape, get out of that. I want to go into your dimensions. So go to your align dimension, just like you did for the exterior of the wall. annotate tab, or very left one right there, or DI on your keyboard.
Oh,
Hit it.
I needed to do this first, huh?
So now you need to exactly. So click in there, click the center line, not the edge.
Oh,
We're going center lines. Okay, so center line of window, center line of window, center line of wall. Yep. Then drag that down and then just click right there and you can set it. Okay, now if you click, now hit escape because you're still in the dimension. Hit escape twice to get out of the, there you go. And now just click the window. And once you click the window, that dimension will activate and you can click into it and make it 310. So go to your bottom left right there. You'll see a dimension that says 3 something. There you go. Type in 3'10" or 3 space 10
perfect. Thank you.
and hit enter. And then it will move it. So same thing with the other window. In order to move windows, doors, any object with a dimension, you don't select the dimension, you select the element,
window.
right? Once you
Got it.
select the element, then the dimension will activate.
Okay, I got her now. Thank you so much.
Awesome. Anybody else want to share anything?
I have one more question. So I did
Hold
the
up,
align-
Kat. I'm going to stop you real quick. We got one in
Alright.
class real quick. And now we're going to use our dimension command. The center line, the center line, the center line, the center line, the center line of this wall. Now that that dimension string is there, any window you click on, this activates, and you can then change it to bye. Okay, so you can click on the window and then move it around. All right, go ahead, Kat.
Okay, so I'm just gonna share one more time. Just for shits and giggles. Okay, so I'm trying to do the align again, and I don't know why.
Are you doing the align or aligned dimension?
Align dimension.
Okay.
Yeah.
I know that there's, hold up, stop.
Yeah, sorry.
So you can't dimension from the center line of the wall to the center line of the parallel window and get a dimension, right? So we
Oh.
need to dimension from the other wall. So go to your north wall or your south wall.
Why is that?
Well, think of the direction you're trying to dimension. So hit escape because you want to get that center line, right?
Okay.
But if you grab the center of the wall, of the left wall, right?
Yeah.
And then grab the window, it's already in line with it. Now grab one of those centers of the windows, and that's going to give you your distance from that other wall. Go ahead and click.
But wait, didn't you say I have to select the midline of the?
You're already good. You're good. You're good. Now select
Okay.
so right there, click.
Okay.
Go down to your next window, click. Next window, click.
Okay.
Now down to the very south wall, midpoint. Click, drag it out and set it.
Okay, I understand now why.
Right. Yeah, it's a little tricky, but now you're like, oh duh, it's not gonna work that other way.
No,
right?
I just had to think of how like the program's thinking.
Right.
Know?
And that's
like,
that is my entire job, is to help you guys see how the program is seeing things. Okay. That's why we go through this. So yeah, perfect. Anyone else want to share anything? If not, I would like to gauge on where we're at. I'd like to finish this assignment before we move on to something else. So what are we thinking for time? Give me a thumbs up in the chat or whatever if you've got this done. So that would be great. Give me a thumbs up or just type in done when it's done, and I can at least see where we're at. And if it's not done, that's fine. Tanner's done. Okay. Or you can give me a thumbs up too. I don't care. I just don't see everyone's screen all the time.
The one thing I wasn't able to easily figure out is notating equidistant. I have
Okay, great.
the dimensions, but I don't have EQ.
Okay, perfect. So you didn't use the equals distance to make those. You actually did the math on it. Right?
Sure. Yep.
Whatever. Okay, share your screen. I know I caught you off guard. Yes, please. Yeah, windows, doors, all dimensions, everything in there. All right. So, Adam, I tricked you a little bit. Okay.
Oh,
I
okay.
know. I know. I'm a bastard.
How could you?
What I want you to think about. So I'm going to give you the solution on the left. Go screw up all your windows on the left-hand side. The left wall, go move them up, down, left, not left or right, obviously, but along that window. Just drag it. It should move. Yeah, there you go. Okay. That you can leave that where it's at. Actually, move it so that way we see them all move.
This one?
Yeah.
Let's go down.
Perfect. Okay. So in the past, when we are moving a singular dimension, so how would you move that bottom window of obviously of this wall, right? Of the left wall to be 8 feet away? Click on it. You go into that
so
dimension, right? Center
so
line
what I
being
did
8
was
feet. So that's what you did. Okay, so you're using the outside edge. So hit escape real quick. I don't want to I don't want you to get in the habit of using temporary dimensions. Okay. Because they screw you up. So hit escape, go back. That's fine, I guess. Whatever. So what I want you to do now though is click that. If you've got a dimension on that, that dimension just activated. Zoom in. Not the 8-foot dimension, but zoom in. You've got a 9'4" dimension, right? That's center line. That's center line of wall to center line of window, a dimension that you placed yourself. That's how you control that window. Not on this. It's 8 foot from an edge to the inside edge of this wall.
Right.
That's what it's giving you, right? So temporary reference dimensions suck, right? It's just giving you something that it thinks could be useful. And in reality, and in reality, a lot of times it just causes more pain because now you got to click and make sure you don't click into that wrong dimension when you're trying to change it. So go ahead and just type in 8 right now. 8 and hit enter. And now that window's 8 feet. Okay, so hit escape and you can see that dimension will go away and that is truly 8 feet away, right?
Yeah.
Center line. Okay. So
Yes.
if you want things to be equal, this is the one time you actually get to click the dimension. So go click that dimension string, not the window. Hold up. How did you do this? Are those? Click the 1410. Now, okay, I need you to go ahead and delete that one. Delete the 8-foot. Delete all of your dimensions there because it's not going to work the way you've got it set up. But this is great. This is a perfect example. So delete that one and delete that one. So when you're doing anything with an equals distance dimension, you want to make sure that all of the distances or all of the measurement marks are in the same dimension string. So hit DI or align dimension, and we're going to click 5 times. Center line of wall. There you go. Sometimes it's easier to just drag to the right a little bit so you don't have interference from that north-south wall. Perfect. Center line there. Okay, keep going down. We're not going to move anything now. Okay, zoom out. Yep. One more, and then now go ahead and click center line, and then center line of wall, right? Zoom in, tab if you need to, drag that out and set it. Now,
yeah, so I did them all individually.
Okay, so now go ahead and click right there. Perfect. Now hit escape. We could do it right now, but I'm not going to just so I can show you how to get back into it. So hit escape. You're out of the command, hit escape again. All right. Now that you've completely exited the command and we want to make all of those windows equal, go click that dimension string. So somewhere, yep, right there. Perfect. Now you'll see on the left-hand side of it, there's a little EQ that turns pink that shows up. And it's so easy. Now if you click it once, it auto toggles them. If you click it again, it will keep them equals distance, but then give you the dimension.
Awesome.
Okay.
Yeah, that's a lot easier. Like I said, so I actually did all of these are individual.
Oh yeah,
measurements.
Yep, you want to keep that as a string. Okay. So that being said, okay, let's go ahead. This is great. Go ahead and delete your 14-foot dimensions to the door. Because those are individual, right?
Correct.
Okay, move that, delete those, move the door. Okay, same thing, center that door.
So we did DI.
Yep.
And
Again, sometimes it's easier to go a little bit farther on that. Good.
it's like a little bit deeper.
Yeah, deeper into the wall, exactly.
Got it.
Set it and equals. Okay. So that is where I tried to trick you just a little bit because on my dimension, it looks like that 12 foot is the same dimension string as the equals, but in reality, it's two strings because you can't have it equals on one side without the others being equal to.
Yeah, I went left to right, and
So,
without that 14-foot measurement, it just like obviously it didn't work out. So
gotcha.
that's where doing it individually, I was like, well, it's got to be more than 12 feet, right,
Gotcha.
to get to 40. So
Yep. Well, and then you could just do that. And
cool.
40 minus 12 is 28 and just draw a 28-foot wall, right? So if you were going right to left with that information or left to right, around the bottom. So anyhow, there you go. All right.
Any
Anybody
other
else have
tricks?
questions, issues? Does it all look like? Yeah, that's why we're here, man. Ask them. So you did a good job. Yeah. I'm just gonna pull this out. This whole distance, I don't know what you got going on. You're good. You're right. You're just taking your dimension from the outside of your wall. So this should be 36 feet. Right there. It was reading 36.8 because it was reading the 4 inches past the center line on the north wall and 4 inches past the center line on the south wall. All right. So now that this is one string, right? And this is a string. If you click this string, and you can do this with multiple items. It's pretty slick. Now, if you click it again, they will then show you the dimension that the distance between them. And then if you click it again, it'll go back to saying EQ. So it just toggles back and forth. All right, 5 minutes. Does that sound good, or do we need to make it 10? I'd like to get it done. If you're done with it, go ahead and I don't know, draw a mirror image of it from scratch. So the plan today was to have a little discussion at some point about Revit work sharing and the other, what else did you have? It laser point cloud scanning and total stations, about the BIM technology focuses. And we can do that if you want. However, for the most part, the responses were pretty good. And it seemed like most people really understood what was going on. Is there any questions while we've got a little downtime, just waiting for people to finish, about those BIM technology focuses? Maybe something you want me to go more in depth in, or I can give you a real world example of how I've used any of those. But it did seem to be that most people had a pretty good grasp on it, which was good. Yeah, go for it.
Have you had a lot of experiences with the sort of like 3D interface? we had a demonstration where somebody came through with essentially VR goggles and
Yeah.
was able to walk through a project, but
Yep.
there
Yeah.
were controls kind of similar to like a video game controller, and you
I
could literally walk through the space and measure
yep.
things as you went along.
Yep. Yeah, I do. All the VR stuff, the virtual reality in construction, it's huge. The if you do you, so that's what's called that's full virtual reality, right? There's what's called augmented reality, which do you know anything about that? And the 3D glasses, the
Uh, that's so they were referring to it as AR.
it is exactly. So
Yeah,
that's what's called augmented reality, AR.
augmented reality.
Okay. And
Oh,
so what augmented reality is it's really cool. So instead of just having these, glasses that you're completely immersed in, right? Because you can't see through, it's just a screen, right? You've got what's
yeah.
called these hollow lenses. Now, is it practical? Yes and no. It's a really cool idea. Is it really efficient on the field? Maybe, maybe not. I don't know, right? There's a lot of concerns with having a screen in front of your face while you're walking around and you're seeing things that are not only there in real life, but also there in future space. Okay. So
Right.
there is a lot of safety concerns when using those on a site. It's really effective. It's really cool. But
Mhm.
once you start paying attention to so much of what's going on and you don't see that giant box, that you just
Or
tripped
you
through.
step into an elevator shaft.
Exactly.
Yeah,
So there's a lot
I
of
gotcha.
issues with the augment. Now, I think it serves its purpose. I think for my wall roughing guys to come knock out a room, how cool it would be for me just to give them a file that showed them in their glasses everywhere they needed to rough in, right? Boom, boom, boom. Hit all this stuff. Everything's pre-made up. So you just plug whips and go. But instead of pulling a tape, they can already see where they're going. That's already right there. They place it where it's modeled. I mean, it's pretty incredible. But
Is
it
it
needs
accurate?
it is. Absolutely.
Really?
It
That's
is.
that's a little surprising
It all
because
depends
there's
on your
also
layout. It all depends on
variables.
how good of a layout you've got to do. But when you do it right, we're down to just under a 16th inch accuracy.
Nice.
So, and construction tolerance for the most part is about 1/8 inch accuracy, um, give or take, right? So, I mean, our our tolerance in the field really depends on how thick that Sharpie was and how fat that guy's hand was when he was marking down that laser point. Like, you know, it's only as accurate as your felt tip marker, right? So like if that's a 16th of an inch, right? So now with GPS, that's with like Trimble and total stations. Now with GPS surveying, you can't get, I mean, the best you could ask for is within like 2 inches, an inch or two. So it's not, but it's all taking GPS, right? It's not taking site survey points that is knows exactly where everything is within a 16th of an inch. So
I mean,
it's fine.
anything could cause it to waver a little, right? You get
Absolutely. It's all
a signal
satellite,
break from a
right?
tree or something bouncing off a
And
building, and all of a
then there's
sudden,
also
water.
the kind of a combined of that where you take the GPS model. You also use targets that are placed on nearby structures to
Mhm.
site. And then you can kind of get the best of both worlds without having to, it's more of a global model for the building instead of having to basically reset up every floor. So,
Uh, I think for the discussion, I found I don't remember which school it was, but their surveying course had a station that was able to do GPS and um, also I think measure from the markings,
yeah.
but
And
they were able to map out a courtyard with I think it was like 60 different points
yeah,
and able to 3D render the whole courtyard. Kind of amazing.
nice. Now, was it taking scans or was it just points? Were you just,
It was just points.
so you just mapped out points? So, like when I was in college and took my first surveying course back in 2009, I think we had AutoCAD had an AutoCAD Civil 3D. I had a total station and a head that you went out and staked, and we had a park that we down in the middle of Pullman that we had to map the whole thing out, and I mapped out like 240 points, and it was, I think we needed to map out 60, but my team was flying and it was fun, and right, we're there until dark. The biggest thing is now that we've got 240 points and everyone else has 60 points, we've got 4 times the data. And so
Right.
just the rent, but it was so cool. I mean, every point of the stage, like, because there's an octagon stage, so you could see all the little, every single portion we did it there. And then we also did it like the gazebo, then like 5 feet outside the railing, so you could kind of see. It was really cool, but it does take some time, right? So, but it's getting faster, and the stuff now with robotic totals, ours was a manual total station that I used back in the day. Now the robotic total station, you take a marker out there, that robot's moving its head all the time. It's two ways to look at it. It's either you're taking a what's called a story pole or whatever with a receiver on the top, and that camera, essentially, it's a camera. That's what it is, right?
Yeah, basically.
It's following that, right? So if you're actually doing surveying, that's what you're looking at, right? Surveying is all about reporting what's there, right? Whereas Trimble or digital layout is the exact opposite. Whereas we're now telling you where to go, right? So the difference between the two of them is, they're essentially 180 degrees from each other, but they work the same. So now we can have a station with a robotic head that just literally shoots a laser, and we just go over and boop, boop. One guy can do it now. And before it was 2 guys sighting in, right? Every time it moves, you got to sight it, get the pointing on it, hit enter and actually grab the data points, right? So it's much faster now with the stuff. With the robotic heads, it's insanely fast to be able to do 60 or 120 points, because all you have to do is put that pole down, click the button, and you're good. Not before it was put the pole down. Okay, guy back at the total station, sighted in. All right,
Yeah.
is it okay? And how good are they at sighting? That's the other thing. It all depended on how good the operator was too. So the robotic total stations have really changed the game as far as layout
Fixing up a lot of the variables.
gathering information, right? So surveying and layout. Cool. James, you got something?
Question: how does that stuff react with reflections and heat?
I'm not a whole. I know we don't really have an issue with it from what I've.
Well, I know we have issues with green lasers and red lasers, especially with daylight. Working downtown on pan decking,
Yeah.
I did
No,
the
you
Hyatt
tell me
Regency
about it.
downtown. Yeah, I was on the Hyatt Regency downtown, and it was in the summertime. Well, you get on that top deck and you try to put points down on pan decking with the reflections. There's just really no way to sight it in. And then you've got the reflections from the surrounding buildings
Now
as
you're
well.
talking about. So
Sunlight.
you're talking about. Okay, so there's 2 ways that Trimble works.
Yeah.
Or digital total stations, and the way number one is with a pole and a robotic head, and you go around with that pole, and that pole has a tablet on it, and that tablet's telling you 2 inches left, 2 inches forward, 1/8 of an inch back. Okay, there it is, right? And that's got a pole on it, and you've got a marker, and you mark where that pole is. So that method isn't really affected necessarily but it typically takes another person, right? It takes, it's a little bit more cumbersome. You got to set that pole. There's a newer machines that do take a laser, and instead of just shooting, telling you, yep, you're over this, it actually shoots that on the deck. And when you're marking, and that's what you're talking about, when you're marking that on the deck and trying to see that laser with the sun and everything, it's hard to see. And
Yeah, it's
I
setting
know,
cans and whatnot on the pan decking. That's pretty difficult. The question I had though is does the GPS, is it affected by reflection?
I would say no
Right.
on the GPS, but with GPS, so GPS is great for like basic temp power layout, basic trenching layouts, right? Underground stuff, basic site stuff.
Yeah, yeah.
However, anything on a deck using GPS is just, there's too much room for error.
Yeah.
From my experience, I don't know. We tried to use GPS on the Microsoft campus because that's what they were, and it's great to get you in the ballpark. But when you want that, with those, stub ups to hit the bottom of your panel, and you got about a half inch each side, I'm not trusting that. So,
No.
so we ended up setting our own points and stuff, and they, after a while, was like, okay, yeah, we need to do this. It's like there's no way, but they wanted global wide on that Microsoft, that we want to do all GPS, and we're going to do all GPS with target points, and target points are great. They help get it from 2 inches off to half an inch, maybe 3/4, 3/8. But the variable is still a variable. It's not a 16th like a Trimble machine is, or any
Yeah.
type of Lycon.
Yeah, I spent some time on the Redmond campus back in, what was that, 2002?
Okay.
That was a big one. That was
Yeah.
22 acres was the footprint on that,
Oh, I know.
and 8 stories down. I mean, that was big,
Yeah.
big. So yeah, okay. That's the
All right.
question I had. Thank you.
Great. All right. Everyone got their drawings wrapped up for the most part?
More or less.
Okay. So let's go ahead. If you haven't finished your drawing and it doesn't read the same way mine does, let's go ahead after this class, or maybe, another hour into this class, we'll probably break around 8:15 or something, 8:30. So again, if you want to spend the rest of the time doing that, I don't care if I get a screenshot now or in a week, right? But I do want to see a screenshot showing that you were able to accomplish the task. That being said, for those of you that do have it, we're going to go ahead and add on to it now. So let me go ahead. Oh, I don't want to do that. I want to share my screen. Yeah, it should all equal. Why is this? Oh, I'm not trying to download that. I was trying to be in my Reddit. Here we go. All right. So today we're going to take a little bit more of a look at some of the modifiers, and just a little bit more how Revit works. Okay. So we've learned to draw some basic walls, put in some basic dimensioning, and move windows, doors around using those dimensions, right? But let's go ahead and talk about some more modifier tools. So if you were in my AutoCAD class, we did a little bit of time with this, but we're going to step back and just take this back to real basics. And sometimes stepping back to basics allows you to learn other tools that you didn't have before, didn't know about, and then you can utilize some of those modifiers in different ways. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and just work right now with some detail lines. Okay. For those of you that took AutoCAD, essentially everything you drew was a detail line, right? It was just a basic line weight, right? You can change the weight, but for the most part, it was just a line. So let's go ahead and I'm going to draw. If I go to my annotate tab, it should be right. I never use it out of the ribbon. Here it is. Annotate, detail line. We're going to draw a detail line. And right off the bat, before you click, you've got lots of different styles of detail lines that we can draw. Okay, so right now, by default, it always starts with this straight line. Okay, essentially, you pick 2 points, and it's going to draw a line between the 2 points. So if I picked a point right here and drew to the right and clicked again, it will set the next point. Now, with a detail line, until you hit escape, you can just keep drawing points. And it acts as a polyline for those of you that took AutoCAD, right? So it actually, if you hit tab on it, the whole thing will select, right? If you just want to draw that first line, we're going to click our first point, our second point, and then we're going to hit that escape key. Now, remember what I said about the escape key. What does it do? You've got 2 functions of it, right? What's the first function? What's the first click do?
Deselect.
Kind of. So the first escape exits your active command. Okay, so right now I'm actively drawing a detail line. If I hit escape, it will exit the command of me drawing that line. However, I'm still in detail line. So if I click and draw, I'm still back in it, right? So if I hit escape, I'm still going to be drawing until I hit escape a second time. Once I hit escape a second time, now I'm back into my normal view where I can click this line and delete it if I want to, right? And do whatever I want with them. But when you're in that detail line command, again, 2 escapes for almost every command to get out of it. Escape to exit the current portion, and escape to actually exit out of the command in the ribbon. Okay, does that make sense? Any questions on that? I know that it can get a little confusing. It's like, why isn't this that? When in doubt, escape out. Okay. So I mean, unless I want to be in the command, which is pretty seldom that like when I'm done with doing my task, I want to stay in that command. Typically my first move is just always double escape, right? So I draw a detail line here to here. Okay, double escape and I'm out, right? And instead of 1 escape and I'm back to drawing another line. All right, so we're going to work with lines a little bit. Just because there's a lot that we can do with them, and learning how to draw with lines allows us to learn how to draw in 3D with more advanced elements. So let's go back to, again, I don't care if you keep your lines. I was just showing you a few things. We can go ahead and go to, again, it's in the annotate tab. I always just click DL on my keyboard for detail line. Now, the difference between a detail line and a model line. I don't know if we can draw a model line in here. So, but ultimately in a 3D view, a detail line will never export. It's just there for your reference. A model line will actually export out as a physical line element when you export to 3D. Okay. So we pretty much always will just draw with a detail line. So again, we have by default a line that it will start with. So I'm going to draw one. I'm going to move over here. Just draw a little line here. Now, if I just click and drag and type in any number, type in 12 and hit enter, it'll make that line 12 feet long, right? It's very intuitive, okay? If you want to type it in, if you want to make that line 1 foot long, you can type in 1 or 12 inches, right? So Revit is set up into be, by default is in feet and inches or fractional feet and inches. So if you hit 1, it's automatically going to give you 1 foot, right? So it's great when you want to draw something 20 feet long because I don't want to figure out that 20 feet is actually 240 inches, right? I'll let that do the math. Now, if I didn't know, let's say I didn't want to do the math, but I knew I needed a line that was 91 and a quarter. What might I do? $91.25 inches, right? You can also type in anything, and I use this all the time because I don't like moving my fingers over to the inch mark. I think it's like, I just don't like doing it. If I don't need to type in feet and inches, but I can type in inches. So let's say I wanted something to be 94 and a quarter, right? And I don't know what that is in feet, but I can type in 0 space 94.25. And by default, that is going to automatically put it into 94 and a quarter inches, which then is 7'10" and a quarter is my line length. Okay. So all types of different ways to make that longer. Now, if I click on this and I get a temporary reference dimension, I could click into there and type in 6 feet. Okay. And that time, maybe that temporary dimension actually does something for me, right? It actually is giving me the length of that line without giving it off another object that I didn't want, right? Earlier we had some dimensions that wanted to come off of the edge of a wall instead of the center line of a wall, right? And so again, temporary dimension can work for that. But if you actually want a dimension that shows that that is 6 feet long, we need to go to our dimension. And you can actually, the cool thing about a line is there's an endpoint on it, and we could actually grab this endpoint, click this endpoint, and then bring that dimension up, right? So we can dimension anything, whether it be a wall, a line, a circle, right? Anything that has geometry to it, we can snap to. Any question with lines? All right. So one thing, so we've got two things in the modifier tab that are big. Well, sorry. First thing in the detail line, right? When we looked at detail lines, there's a lot of different other options that we can draw, right? I could come here and we can draw a square or a rectangle, right? That's an option. We could click here and we could draw a pentagon, right? Now it shows a pentagon here, but it's actually, this is an inscribed polygon and this is an circumscribed polygon. So when you draw that, let's take a look at that again. Does anyone know how I just selected all of that, by the way? So I click that one line. If I click that one line and I could hold control and click all these other lines, but that's a process, right? If you hover over anything, again, my favorite keyboard key is tab. If you hit tab, anything that's connected will automatically select. Okay, so this square, hit tab, whole thing's going to select. Anything that if I draw a detail line, hover one, hit tab, whole thing will select. Okay, so it's a pretty cool feature when you're trying to grab the entirety of an object. The other way you could do it, you could come here and select the whole thing like this, but you may end up with grabbing other lines that you don't want to, right? So if they're all connected and you hit tab, you can grab them. So again, I'm going to grab that again and delete it real quick just because I wanted to drop that back in. So when I go to line, again, annotate detail line, and I come click this inscribed polygon. Now, one thing about Revit is every time you click something, there's always another menu. There's always more information you can add somewhere, right? So by default, I was sort of drawing this. I saw 5 up in the ribbon, right? Looks like a house. But by default, it was drawing 6. So if we go over here, and anytime you're in a command, if there are more features, you can look here and see, hey, what other pieces of info is it looking for? So if I wanted to draw that 5 sides, I could type in 5. And now when I start drawing, it will draw 5 sides, right? Maybe I wanted to draw 7 sides, right? So pretty cool. Maybe I wanted to draw something with an offset of 6 inches, or 6 inches with a radius 2 feet. Right now, I gave it everything, all the information that it needed to build that polygon, 7 sides, offset of 6 inch with a 2-foot radius. So when I drag that in, it's not letting me make it any bigger. It's not letting me change the shape of it because I already told it and I constrained it up here by what I wanted. Now, if I take that off, now I can do whatever I want, right? I can make that bigger. All right.
Could you do a 3-dimensional array?
A 3-dimensional array.
Yeah, like a flower, but like almost like a walls almost to it, or like you know
Now
what
we're
I'm
getting
talking
now
about?
we're getting fancy, but yes, we can.
Like I was just like thinking about that because I remember there's a ray in AutoCAD and
But let's go ahead and look at array real quick. Okay, I do like it. Okay, we're gonna get there in about. Oh, what did I just do? Am I still sharing? All right. We'll get to array in a second. We're gonna get through a couple more of these, and then we'll look at some modifiers. Okay. I do like where your head is going though. All right, so let's go back to annotate. We're gonna look at a couple more of these detail line items. So we looked at this is an inscribed polygon. Same thing. This is just circumscribed. So the difference between the two of them, one of them, see how the circle is on the inside of this polygon, right? When I tell it I want it to be, a 20-foot diameter, that's the inside of that polygon is 20-foot diameter. So if I took well, that's the radius on it. But point being is this one, if I go the other way around with detail line and grab inscribes inside, this one is inside the polygon. So two different ways to draw it, basically the same thing. Just depending on how you want to take your measurement. All right. Let's look at a couple more, and we're gonna then look at some fun arcs because arcs in this program are awesome, and arcs in AutoCAD are terrible. I will plain and simple. Cat knows. No, you shouldn't. I want to combine it all into one. So no, you don't need to learn that. All right. So what we're gonna look at now, again, last but not least, for these basic ones, right? We've got this circle. I think everyone knows what a circle does, right? Click your center point, drag outward. It's going to give you a radius. Okay. And if you click on that circle later, you could change that radius to 15 feet or 15 inches, right? 15 feet. Okay. And it'll give you a length of that line if you look here. Pretty simple. All right. Let's look at some arcs because arcs are cool. So I'm going to go ahead and draw a 2-foot by 2-foot line. Okay, so it's going to be a 2-foot by 2-foot L. So I'm going to draw down 2 feet, and I'm going to draw to my right 2 feet. And then I'm going to hit escape to exit that command because I no longer want to draw a straight detail line. I probably could have hit escape once and clicked the new item, but it's always best, I feel, just to exit the command and then start your next one. That way you're not hung up trying to do something. And so if we look at arcs, okay, there are a couple different arcs. There's a fillet arc, a center end arc. This is my favorite. It's a start end radius, and this is probably the best arc to use for most things. So if you use this arc and we click the top point and then the bottom point, okay, it's going to make a line between the two of them that has an arc shape to it. Now, what it's looking for is it's looking for a third piece of information, okay? If I hover over this, what is it called? Start end radius, right? So I'm going to click my start. I'm going to click my end. And then it's going to want a radius. So do I want to come in this way? Do I want to go out this way, right? And it will snap to a very nice 2-foot radius, like which is the radius of the two lines that we drew, right? So it makes it super easy to make that nice 90-degree arc without having to do a bunch of middle line segments and all that jazz, right? So pretty easy. Same thing here. If you extended this out, right? Maybe you want it to be something that's very specific, right? So maybe you've got say maybe you've got this like 6-foot door. Okay, and it's still gonna open normally, right? But like let's say that you just wanted to show this weird arc between it. I don't know why, right? But you could always put in a detail line, and I could come to like this point. And now that I've got any 3 points, again, if you just give it the first two, it's going to try and give you the most common arcs that it would like to make. If you give it a third point, it doesn't care. It will allow you to put that arc wherever you want. So if I go back to detail line, 3-point arc, start end radius, start end. And then if I want that radius to be right there, I can force it to be right there. Now, what it wants to do, this is a tangent, right? And that's what it likes to do. And it will try to snap at specific items, but you can make that arc do whatever you want it to do. Okay? Pretty cool, pretty easy, kind of fun to play with. So let's go ahead and draw something that we're going to have fun with. All right. We're going to do about 10 more minutes, and then we're going to take a short break. Okay, so we're going to get through a few more modifiers. I want to draw something very simple to begin with. However, something that will show us that we are mirroring it and or rotating it and or copying it, scaling it, whatever we want to do with it. So what I want to do is I want to go to the Annotate tab, Detail Line, and I want to draw a line that is, let's go ahead and make it 2 feet long. So 2 foot. I want to draw a line off the midpoint. Now, does anyone remember what the midpoint snap looks like? What shape are we looking for on a midpoint? So if we,
It's a little triangle.
it is a triangle, you got it. So anytime you see a square, that's an endpoint. Anytime you see something that's like this, that's just saying, hey, it's going to intersect there. When you see that triangle pop up, that is your midpoint. So Revit's really cool that you don't have to turn O snaps on and off like AutoCAD. It's just kind of there and works nicely with them. So I'm going to go ahead and take a line off the midpoint and draw 6 inches out. Now from here, I've got 2 options. I have the top side, which I want to make a straight line. So if I go back to detail line, I want to make a straight line here. So I'm going to make a straight line from here to here. And then I'm going to use a 3-point arc and make a 3-point line and actually bring it in. And so it uses the kind of tangent line right here to create a little convex shape. Everyone have something that looks like that? Kind of cool. All right, again, just for any of you that may have missed it, the dimensions on this are 2 foot. So this is, foot long. This is a 6-inch line. And then we just came off the midpoint. Okay, this is really big like this. I'm going to go ahead and change my scale just so you can see my dimensions in a little. Actually, let's take them off for now. They're fine. All right. So let's do something a little bit more fun. This would work how it is and allow us to do our modifiers and play with it. But let's make it a little bit more dynamic. So if I go to my Annotate tab, right next to Detail Line, we have this thing called a region. Now, this is the same basic idea as hatching in AutoCAD. So we're going to take this region, we're going to create a filled region. So when I click this filled region, on the left, you're going to see some properties come up. And by default, right now, it's wanting to fill it with a diagonal crosshatch. However, I'm going to click that drop down, and we're just going to choose solid black. Okay. All right. So pay very close attention to the next step that we're going to do. You could do this just by drawing over the top of this. I could click here, I could click here, I could click here, and click back here. And I could make a filled region using those 3 points, right? So, and I'll go ahead and do that. So you can see. And once it goes back to there, I can hit that checkbox. And now I've got a filled black region up there. Okay, pretty cool. But there's another command that we'd like to look at that could help us out a little bit more. And what we want to do, again, we're now in, I hit Control Z, so I went back. I'm in the, I'll go ahead and exit out of this so I can just start it back over. So again, we're in the region. We're going to be creating a filled region. And then we want to create a filled region, and I want a solid black filled region. So right now it wants to start with a diagonal crosshatch. I want a solid black. All right. So we know how to draw, right? Everyone's learned how to draw a little bit. Okay, drawn a line, drawn a wall. Well, how about selecting something that you've already drawn? So up here, there's this really awesome tool called Pick Line. Okay, and so what this is going to do is when I'm using this to create my filled region, I can actually select this item and it's saying, hey, I'm going to create a border for the filled region based on lines you've already drawn. What would you like to select? And I can come here and select that line, and I could select that line. Now, if I select that line, it's going to want to go all the way down there and say, hey, we've got an issue. So I could either come back and draw a normal line like that, or if I did want to use my pick line button, I could pick the line and then just drag this back so my triangle connects right. But it won't let you do something, a filled region that has something going outside the filled boundary line. Does that make sense? Like if I try to hit check here, it's saying, hey, lines cannot intersect each other. The highlighted lines currently intersect. So you can't have a line going through another line. So no, I'm going to hit continue editing, and now I'm going to put those back together. Oh, it looks like it's got, there we go. And just like that, I've got a black. Okay, so that pick a line tool is there in a lot of commands. Even when I'm like drawing a detail line, pick a line is there. Like if I had a background, right, that had some walls in it, I could pick a line and draw my line right over their wall. Okay, so it's pretty useful, but not as useful as the modifiers.
Mine's pink.
Yours is pink.
My hatch region is pink.
Is it because it's still selected? Hit escape.
Oh yeah, there it goes. I was like, what the heck? Yeah, that's what it looked like. Yeah, sorry.
All right. So let's go ahead and take a look. Okay, we got about 10 minutes and we'll take a little break. We're going to look at some basic modifiers. This won't be the last time that we look at modifiers. Okay, so, but what a modifier is when you select any element, okay, by default, your ribbon will come up and go all the way over to the right. And you can see mine's actually, you can't even see it, but I'm in my quote unquote modify tab, right? I've just got too many tabs, but it'll open up anytime you select an item, your modify tab will come up. Maybe not necessarily for a wall or let's see what comes up for a wall. I got a wall right here, right? Yes, it does. Okay. Anything. It just comes up with different types of modifiers depending on what type of element you're grabbing, right? So this wall gave me, I can modify the top, the bottom, the opening of this wall. When I click on this line, right, it gives me different modifiers up here. Okay, same thing happens when I click on like this hatch. If I select this hatch right in the middle, right, a little bit different items come up here, right? So modify is always changing depending on what you have selected, okay? But in theory, modify is where we are going to use commands that allow us to modify the object. What that means is mirroring the object, arraying the object, rotating the object. Okay, so let's take a look at a couple of these. Copying the object, right? So I'm going to go ahead and select all of these lines, and I'm going to select them all by clicking up in the top left and holding down my click and dragging to the bottom right. When I do that, I now should have 5 in my properties where it says common, right? I'm going to have 1 line, 2 lines, 3 lines, 4 line, and then the 5th is my shaded region. Okay. So now when this comes up, you see that all of these have some common properties, but we still have different modifiers that we can do to it. So first things first, we're going to copy. Okay. Very basic. Now in this class, I'm saying you can with air quotes, meaning it is possible, okay, to use Control C, Control V, right? Just like you've done in the last, however long you've used a computer. It may be a week, it may be, hopefully it's not a week because you've been in this class 4 weeks now. So, but you could use the Control C and Control V, okay? What it's going to do is it's just going to paste another one pretty much wherever you tell it to, but just based on visual, right? So I'm not really knowing. Right now it's giving me a few reference snap or giving me a few temporary dimensions, okay? But it's not great, okay? In this class, the copy method that we are going to utilize is copy, meaning up here, there's 2 ways to copy. The one that I just talked about earlier, okay? Control C, right? Your normal control copy, right? And you can do that. The problem with that is if you want to move something a specific distance away, it's hard to do that. So what we like to do is we like to use this copy, which copies with a base point. And this is the CO keyboard shortcut. But when we click it, the first thing it's going to ask us for is a base point. So I'm going to step back real quick and draw just a little border. And I'm going to take this whole thing, and I'd like you to draw a line down here too. Let's everyone draw. I don't care how long your line is. Mine's 10 feet. Okay. What I'd like to do is practice selecting this whole thing and using the very, very first of our modifiers before anything else, before copying, mirroring, rotating. What's the very most basic thing you could do to an element?
Drag it?
Drag it. What are you doing essentially when you drag it? What is it doing to it?
You're literally just moving it.
You're moving it. That's what I'm looking for right there. The very first modifier is move. Okay. And that's this button right here. Now, move is cool because it's going to allow me to take an object from one location and place it to another. Well, I could do that by dragging. Okay. Like Adam said, I could drag it and I could grab this and just drag it. Okay. But does that do me any good if I want to put it someplace specific? Not really. Okay. So we're going to use our move command. So I'm going to select all of this. And instead of just dragging the item, and you can see right here when you hover over it, it's got that 4 arrows going out, top, bottom, left, right, meaning you can drag in any of these directions. The same icon exists up here in the ribbon, and it's called the move icon, or MV on your keyboard. And what this allows you to do is it not just allows you to move an item, but it allows you to move it with a base point. Okay, and this is a really, really fundamental task and just theory to understand is moving with a base point allows you to move something to a specific location, right? So I'm going to use this move button. And now it's going to say, you can see it's already got what I want to move, right? That's all selected in pink. When I come to this, it likes to grab object snaps, right? It's going to grab that move endpoint. And now I'm going to move that to that endpoint. And now if I zoom in, no matter how far I zoom in, those lines are perfectly in alignment with each other, right? I could have done this where I just drug this. Oh, those are actually joined now. Because I moved it, it said, hey, I'm going to actually join those together. I could do this where I drag this. This will never automatically snap. Just not the way that the program works. You're not telling it to snap anything. You're just saying I'm free moving it. And free move is just a visual reference. Maybe sometimes you'll end up with some, temporary dimensions that come in, right? But for the most part, we want to use our move and our endpoints, right? So using our base point to move it. All right. So that's first thing. Very first modifier is move. What's the next modifier? What else could we do to it? The next most basic one before we try to rotate it or spin it around or how about once you draw something once, do you want to draw it again?
Yeah, copy.
Copy. Okay. Again, very basic, but these are what's going to allow you to be efficient in your work and draw something once and be able to utilize it multiple times. Okay. So this copy, same thing with move. Okay. It's the exact same command as move, literally, as far as you click the button, you've clicked it as the base point, and you click where you want it to go. The only difference is it leaves the original behind, right? So if I hit this copy and I come click the base point and I now come click this midpoint, it's going to put it right there, but it'll just leave the original behind, right? If I'm in the copy mode, okay, there is a button up here called multiple. When that checkbox is selected, I can go ahead and continue to click and paste multiple instances of that copy. Okay, if it is on single, as soon as you paste it, you're done with the command. It exits for you. Okay, so if you're like, hey, why is this copying so many times? Your multiple is probably turned on. Or vice versa, which happens more often than the other way around, is why won't this paste 4 windows here? It's only pasting 1 because you're not allowing it to paste multiple. Okay. All right. Let's have some fun. So we're going to look at the last couple modifiers for the day. And then we're going to take a little break and then work on some more stuff. So if we go and select all of these lines, right? So if I grab that whole thing and I use my mirror command, I could flip that diamond on top of each other, on top of itself. So this right here is, and I typically always will use this mirror pick access. So what it's doing is saying, hey, I'm going to mirror this. And I say, I want you to mirror it about this line. Whereas this one here is mirror draw axis, where it says, hey, I'm going to mirror this, but you need to draw where you want to mirror from. So I'm going to go ahead and mirror this. And I'm just going to literally click that midline. And now I have a mirrored object on the other side. Now let's take this one step farther. And I like this. It looks cool. But I want to mirror this again and then move it back. So I have a black triangle opposite of a black triangle and a white arc opposite of a white arc. Okay. So again, I've got my item selected. Now it gave me an extra line here because I mirrored it across. So now instead of just 5 pieces, there are 10 total, right? So when I select just the middle, it's grabbing both those lines. I don't really care. If I wanted to deselect one of them, I could hold shift and click one of those lines and it deselected one of them. I don't know if that's what I want to do. It looks like it's got some other. So I'm just going to keep it all selected and I'm going to mirror about this bottom line. Okay, so I'm going to use my mirror about axis or MM on our keyboard. And I'm going to choose this line as my mirror line. Pretty cool. Now, one thing that AutoCAD does have is in AutoCAD, you can mirror, and then if you want to save your original, you can. If you want to delete your original, you can. It doesn't have that option in Revit. You're always going to mirror. So if you want to mirror and change it, you just need to go back and just delete the other items. Okay. Now I'm going to take this whole thing and utilize my move command one more time and move from this endpoint to the top endpoint. Now I got something that looks like that. All right. So I want to do 2 more commands. I want to do rotate. And then just because Daniel touched on it, we're going to look at array. But we will pick up with
Can you
array.
show again how you do last mirror? I didn't get it.
I did what?
Last mirror.
This?
Yeah. Yes. Mhm.
So I selected all of this.
Mhm.
You can do that by the top, the bottom here, right? Whatever. And then I used my move command and moved it. Essentially, I know it's 2 feet, but I like using endpoints, so I
Oh,
moved
okay,
it.
I got it. I got it. Mhm.
Cool. Right on.
Thank
All
you.
right. So let's look at rotate real quick. Okay, so rotate's a pretty easy command to understand. However, the one thing that you need to understand is where your base point is. Okay, remember we're talking a lot about base points today. And all that means is the location that you're selecting from where you want to either copy something from, mirror something from, rotate something from, right? So the base point doesn't have to be a specific spot. It just has to be a spot that you know what's going on, right? It doesn't necessarily mean that this top can't be the base point because it's not the base of the item, right? Some people get that confused because all it's saying is I'm going to utilize this point and you can use that for your further information, whether you want to move it, rotate it, copy it, whatever, right? So let's take this whole thing and I'm going to select it all. And if I use my rotate command, by default, it's going to place this base point or the center of rotation in the center of my object. Okay. And that may be okay. Right. And maybe I want to just do this and rotate it 90 degrees. Cool. That works. Right. And it rotated about center. Well, what if I wanted to rotate it we have another object that's coming off of this point. So by default, it wants to choose center to rotate, but that doesn't mean that's your only option. There's two ways to move this center. If you click up here, center of rotation, and click this place button, it will start over, and wherever you come and place that is now the center of rotation. And I can now click anywhere, give it a direction I want to travel, and rotate it, let's say 45 degrees, and it should rotate just to my left, right? Based on that original point, okay? We move that base point from the center of the object to the bottom, so now we're rotating around that base point. Okay? One more time, the other way is the same method, it's just a little bit either slicker and or more confusing, depending on how you grab it. But you can take this item, so if you actually use the reason I don't like doing this method to teach is just because if you don't get it right on, it's going to try to activate your rotate command. Okay, but you can actually go in and click this base point and then just click and drag it. Okay, so I just drag that node down to the bottom, and now I can make that base point my bottom. Right? Does that make sense? So two ways to do it. One of them is just by dragging the center to a new location. The other one is actually placing it from scratch, saying, hey, I want this location now, instead of having to click and drag this thing, right? Sometimes it works nicely, sometimes it's kind of cumbersome. So again, multiple options. And again, you could rotate it around here if you wanted, right? It doesn't matter. You can choose wherever you want to rotate that. Okay. Any questions on rotation? The last thing we're going to do is look at an array, and we're only going to look at a polar array right now, just because we're in the rotate mode and that's what I want to look at. So I'm going to draw a little circle. I'll make it, I don't know, I'll just make it a foot, and I'm going to move this circle from the tangent edge to the bottom. And so we have this circle. So this is our circular item that we're going to be arraying around. Instead of just arraying it right around the base point and making it super tight, we're going to give it a little bit of space to breathe, right? It'll also allow us to create more objects within it. All right. So array, same thing as all the other modifier commands. You start by selecting what you want to modify, right? So this time we went through the move, right? We went through copy. We went through mirror. We went through rotate. Okay, so all great commands. This guy up here is what's called an array. Okay, and there's a couple different arrays. It's called polar array in AutoCAD. It's called, I think it's called a circular array here. It's a radial array is what they call it here. So when I click this array button, it's going to pop up with another dialog box saying, hey, what do you want to do? And the dialog box, again, is right here. And it's saying, hey, how many do you want? So I'm going to say I want a total of 4. Okay, I'm just going to place 1 right here, 1 underneath, and 1 to the right of me. Okay, so I'm going to say I want 4. And I want to choose a radial array. I want 4. And I'm going to place the center of my rotation. Now, if I go ahead and click into here, maybe I want 4 that exists between here and 30. And that's what's going to happen right now if I give it a specific angle. It's going to try to place me 4 of them at 30 degrees apart. Okay. However, what I want to do is place them 4 evenly spaced. So if I go to array, and I change this to 4, and I place the center of rotation right here, and I want my angle to be 360 degrees, it will then place them 90 degrees apart along the circle. Total of 4. What did it not do? It didn't like that. Okay, real quick before I do anything else to it, I'm gonna group it. Okay. This just makes it so these objects work together, and it's kind of like a block. So things are just gonna stick together. We're just gonna call this detail. Now, when I try to array it, we shouldn't have as many issues. So we'll try it one more time. Here's the array. I want a total of 4. Angle 360 degrees. And I place my center of rotation right here. Let's see. Why is it not giving me? Sorry, one more time. Array. 4, angle 360, and place my center of rotation right here. Should just be able to hit enter. Why is it not doing this? I changed something on me in 24. Hold up. A group. Oh, it's grouping and associating, and I don't want to do that. I want to move it to 4. 4. I want to place this. And I'm just going to tell it I want to make. Move to last group association. I don't know why it's not rotating on me. It's not arraying the way that it's supposed to. I'm sorry. Normally I can just place this to here. I want 4 of them. $360. Enter. I don't know why it's being a pain.
Oh, you know, I did it somehow.
You did it somehow. Great. Well,
Yeah.
I'm glad you did it because I can't. I don't know why it's having issues with this, but we're not going to take any more time on it. We're going to go ahead and take a 5-minute break. We'll come back at 7:50 and we'll look at the next portion of tonight's class. And we can touch base on array and modifiers and the stuff that I wanted to really do, which is do a 3D array for Daniel. So we'll work on that next week. Yes. Yeah, go ahead. Just send that snapshot to me or save it and complete it. Yes, sir. Yeah. Well, I know it's going to get great, so let's do it. Does it give you a text? What? You don't have to have another text? Yeah, if you get a third party pin every time you sign in. Oh, it's right here. Okay, so if you go to modules. And go through, let's just look at these two. So this one I'm gonna. I'll put it. It should be. So that's the two. On. So yep. All right, sounds good. All right, we'll give it another minute or so. I know it's not a ton of time, but we still got some more stuff to get through today.
Hey, Graham, for the classwork, were we just submitting a copy of the floor plan that we made?
The early one, correct? Yep.
Okay.
So, yep. We might.
Yes.
Are you able to submit multiple photos? I think you
Yes.
had. Okay, so tonight I'd like to do a screenshot of this one, and then one of the next exercise that we're gonna do. And we can do them right next to each other, so you can do it like in one screenshot if you want, right? Or if you want to do it in two, that's fine too. I don't care. Even if it's zoomed out far, I don't really care. I can see what's going on. Okay.
Sure.
All right. Is everyone back with me? So, a lot of my lectures will always build upon something we've learned in the first part into the second, or vice versa into multiple weeks, right? Maybe we'll learn something in 1 week and take that and then change it and modify it, change a little workflow and use it again. I want to take a look at something that we just created earlier, which was using a detail line to create some type of a polygon. Okay. So why might this be useful? We're going to take what we learned earlier and start to utilize it for Revit's terms. So my whole goal, and this is not the goal of this class, but the goal of all the classes that I will have taught and will teach, is not to teach you how to use the software. It's teach you how to think the way the software thinks. Teach you which way do we want to approach this, right? Because there's 100 different ways to do something. And I'm not going to teach you all of them, but if I can teach something that can relate to you and you understand that, that's what we're looking for, right? So we're looking, maybe one way sinks in better than the other. Continue with it, right? There's no right or wrong way. There might be a better way, right? But there's not necessarily a wrong way to do things. So let's go ahead. We are going to build something that I've never done in my class before, which I'm looking forward to. We are going to build an igloo of sorts, right? Not really an igloo, but kind of use a maybe more a. I wish I could do a geometric dome or an igloo, but more just an octagon house, right? Something that's a rounded house, right? So I want to utilize some detail lines and some stuff that we've learned earlier today to
Right.
help facilitate this.
Can I take a second to share my screen? For some reason I'm in some sort of stuck mode where I'm not able to
Yeah.
select.
Okay. Yeah, please do. Stop share. You're probably still in a array mode that you're stuck in or something. There's probably a checkbox or a X that we need to choose. So share your screen and we'll get you taken care of. All right, so exactly what I thought. You were in the modify. So anytime that you're in something, right, and you're like, everything looks great out, and you see something where you've got like this teal bar, right? In
Yeah.
order to get out of this, you need to go to that teal ribbon at the very top. That's the light teal. Go to the top. Now click that. Now you either need to exit the command with the red X or confirm the command with the checkbox.
Okay.
So now, yes, that's fine. You don't want to create a failed region. Oh, okay. You were still there. You were stuck back there. So let's go ahead and finish creating your failed region real quick, just so you get that. And it's a good example for everyone else to look at it.
Yeah, I was having some trouble there with that too. I was gonna just go back and do it later, but if you want to do it now, we
I
can.
want to take a look because we're gonna look at this with the next exercise. So go ahead and go to the annotate tab, and we're gonna go to region. And then again, so let's go ahead and instead of just clicking those lines, hit escape, hit escape. I want you to go click this in your neck to the right of the green check mark. There's a little exactly there. You go. Click that button. So we want to choose the diagonal one there. Perfect. Click that one. We want to choose the middle one. And then if you can choose the right one, that's fine. Go ahead and choose the line on the right. We just need to go take that endpoint and drag it up to the middle. So go to the bottom of that line. It's blue. There you go. Grab that node and drag up to where the other one is. Nope. To your right, right there. You got it. Let go. Now hit the check. You were there. You just never hit this checkbox. So go hit the green check to finish the command. There you go.
Oh, okay.
And you're with a diagonal crosshatch. If you go to your properties and click the drop down at the top, then we can choose a solid black. There you go. Perfect. All right. You can play with that more later. All right.
Okay.
But now you're
Thank
out of
you.
there.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right. So one command that we just used right there was that pick a line command, right? So that pick line command is very useful when you're trying to lay something out. Maybe you want to lay it out in a 2D version. Okay, so all right. So let's go ahead up here to the annotate tab. Again, we're spending a lot of time in annotate today. We're going to do a detail line, and we are going to do a circumscribed polygon. So when I click on this, again, before I start clicking anything else, I want to come up here. I want this to have, and I'm going to actually make this have 12 sides. And I want to go ahead and make all of us have the same building. So let's all make one with 12 sides, 0 offset. And we're going to have, let's go 15-foot radius. So now when I click, it's automatically going to try to build that detail line. And I want to go ahead and orient it down so that way one of my straight sides is down. Everyone got something like that when you exit the command? All right. So this next command is pretty cool. First off, let's just see how big is this? That's 8 foot there. That's pretty awesome. That's a good size. So what we can do with this is we can safely add a door, right, to one of the sides of this building. But we don't have a building yet, right? We just have a basic 12-sided polygon. So how might we build a wall with a couple clicks? Because I don't want to go through and click this line, click that line, click. I could drag that around. I could do that. I could go wall, architect. Oop. I could click this corner to this corner and to this corner.
Could you use offset?
Could
you use offset?
I use offset? Um,
That's not exactly a wall, but
no, not exactly, is it? But you could still kind of use a combo of what we just did. So we're gonna still be in the wall command. Okay. But remember this really cool feature? That pick line tool? Well, what do you get when you use a pick line tool and you've got a group of lines that are connected and you use your tab function? So if I take that and I use my pick line, and I want to go just to 10 feet up. I'm just going to go to 10 feet height unconnected for now. I'm going to use this pick line tool. Once I hover over this, if I hit tab, it can grab all of them. I can hit click, and in 2 steps, I just made 12 walls that are all, 36, 28 degrees apart, something like that. And then you could come in here and then just delete out that inside line.
Can you do that one more time, please?
I absolutely can do that one more time. Do you have this? Do you want me to start over with the detail line, or
No, I got the shape.
you got the shape? Okay, perfect. So we're gonna go to wall, and again we're gonna click wall architectural, and for this we're just using that basic 8-inch is fine. Now, if I just started clicking and drawing, it would just draw a wall between wherever I clicked. However, if I use this pick line or pick lines plural tool, and I hover over one of these lines and I hit tab on my keyboard, it will then select all the other ones that are connected. Once I click, it will then drop 12 walls there that are all connected. Right? So now, if I delete that detail line, it looks pretty clean. So I'm going to go ahead and just drop in a front door. I'm going to make this one a nice big double 7284. Make it fill up most of the front. And again,
Sorry,
right
Graham.
now.
Sorry, Graham. Can you show once again? I didn't catch it.
All right. 3rd time. 4th time, you got to play the video back for it. All right. 3rd time. Are we here? Do you have this line?
Yes.
Okay. So we're going to go to wall. Architectural wall. Now, anytime you hover over an object or hover somewhere, it's going to try to choose.
Yeah.
Right? It's trying to choose that endpoint right now, right?
Yes.
Well, if I go up here to this pick line, this green line button.
Okay.
And then I hover over it, it's not only going to try to grab the whole line segment, but if I hit tab, it will then grab the entire polygon.
Thank you.
Then go ahead and click once right on top of there, and you've got your wall drawn.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay. Now to get rid of this, how might we get rid of this inside line, the detail line, now that we don't need it anymore? I mean, I could go here, hit delete, right? What have we learned? What does tab do? Tab.
So, yep, use tab.
Selects anything that's connected, right? Tab is one of your best friends, not only for selecting multiple items, right, that are maybe connected, but also for, selecting maybe a different section of that wall that you wanted to dimension off of, right? It does multiple functions, but ultimately it helps you to select items is what tab does. So I'm going to click delete. Is everyone good for me to go ahead and put a door in? If not, go ahead.
I try and hit this pick lines thing, and then I go to the thing, and then I hit tab, and then once I scroll off of it, it goes off of being pink again.
Correct, because you need to click it while you're over it.
Um,
Do you want to share your screen?
yeah, sorry.
It's okay. That's why I want to make sure that we're all all together.
Someone else is sharing still.
I just stopped. You should be able to share. All right, cool. So you drew one wall. So let's go ahead and click that wall and delete it. Zoom in, please, because you can't work way out there. Because right now what you're selecting is that middle line. Hit escape, hit escape. Hit escape and get out of all of that. There you go. All right. Now let's, I don't know what you got going on, just some scope box probably, whatever, it doesn't matter. So
Yeah, I
now
did.
let's go ahead and click that wall button, right? Okay. Now we're going to go to the pick line. We're going to hover, hit tab, click.
Okay.
Don't move your mouse.
Okay, sorry.
You're not done with, now click.
Oh, okay.
Once you move your mouse, you're off the selection.
Okay,
Okay.
got it.
So now go ahead, hit escape. Hover over that center line. Hit tab. Click. Now they're all selected, and you can hit the delete key and delete all of those inside lines. There you go.
Sweet. Thank you.
Okay. So that tab tool is super important. All right. Let's go back to sharing my screen. All right. So with this guy, let's go ahead and put in, I think I was going to put in this 72 by 84. Okay. Now, one thing I want you to pay attention to right now. Are we getting very nice snapping references? No. Does that matter? No. Okay. Get the items on there. We can move them around later. Okay. If the window or the door isn't dropped on there, how am I going to move it later? Right. Sometimes items want to snap. Well, they don't really want to snap when there's not a whole lot of information. And sometimes basic items like this just don't want to do it. Okay. Especially when that door is really small or the wall is really small. Okay. So what we can do is go ahead and drop this door. And then I'm going to go and change to, I don't need two doors for this little structure. I can go and change to architecture and I'll go to window and let's do like 36 by 46 windows every. So something like that. And then the other ones, we're going to go ahead. Again, I'm not dimensioning anything. I'm just getting my thoughts, right? Getting the windows that I want, where I want them, and getting, okay, so that was like a single one. Now let's do a big fixed double one.
Hey, Graham, could I ask you a quick question?
Yes.
So with doors, it's pretty easy to tell which direction, that item is facing. For windows, is there an easy way to tell what the proper orientation is?
A glass. So can you see my screen?
Yes.
So see how this is a thick line right here?
Mm-hmm.
That's your glass. That's your glazing.
Okay.
Okay. So
So
some
it's not
windows like
window
this,
sill.
this window opens out, right? Okay, but if they're just a fixed or they slide up and down, right? They're always represented by this, and you're always gonna show the side that has a little bit more detail on the right or on the outside, right? In this
Exterior.
instance, it's on the right.
Cool.
But since there's no swing to the window, there's not going to ever be a swing shown. Okay.
Right.
There may be depending on how the window opens. Okay. There could be a symbol here with an arrow showing it opening this way. Right. Instead of swinging open, it kind of opens up.
Sure.
They do have a kind of funky little symbol that you'll typically see in here that's an arrow going up and an arrow going down, which shows you that that's going to slide up and down. Okay. But yeah, realistically, you're looking for the most detail. Now, how might I really tell? This is where we're going to get to. So let's go ahead and place these windows where I want them to. Okay. or doors. And in this case, I want to utilize our equals as much as possible, right? I don't care what the distance is between the wall and the window, but I want them all centered, right? So one thing you'll notice when you go to dimension something, is it giving me that spot to dimension to? I want to go right between those. And if I tab in, see that guy right there? That's what's called a node. Okay, so anytime I see a singular dot like that, it allows me to grab the measurement from that point in specifically, right? It's not going to slide down or left or right or down. So it's from there to the center point. And then again, you might have to tab in to be able to select that. Once I set that, now I could come here and why isn't it? Why isn't it giving my equals? That's bizarre. Something's funny about how that dimension worked. Let's try that again. Still not giving me equals. So sometimes it may or may not give you equals. And this is real world scenario right here. Sometimes you just can't get it to, and maybe it's because maybe it's because it's a node, right? Maybe if I put these two detail lines in, maybe I could get it to equals out this way. Let's see. Okay, so there's always a way to do it. So it likes having a straight line is what it wants. Now I can equals it and it doesn't matter. It doesn't care. Okay. But it wants that straight line. So for this, we can go ahead and figure out that this line is 8.2. There's a couple ways we could do this. What we might want to do is go ahead and let's go to our visibility graphics real quick. So hit VG on your keyboard, or do you guys have a template on right now? Just look on your left-hand side. Do you have a template? If you've got a template, let's click the template. If you have no template, click VG. What we're going to go ahead and do is go into our model categories, and we're going to turn windows and doors off. So we're not going to see them. Okay. And when we do this, looks like we're still kind of seeing this because of the cut. What I was trying to get to do is be able to draw a detail line from the center of these walls. So it's giving me, even though we remove the window, it's giving me the cut of that. So let's go ahead and try this real quick. And I want to go to your view range. So if you're in a view template, we're going to go down to view range right here. And I want to cut us at 1 foot. Okay, that's what that means is it's taking my cut plane. It's saying, hey, I'm going to take your eyes and put them at 1 foot above the floor, and then you're going to look down from there. And so hopefully that's underneath all of those windows, which it is. Okay. Now, when we draw some detail lines, we're going to be grabbing center point of, I don't know why that's very peculiar. So we want to just go ahead and grab the center point of that inside wall and then just draw a line perpendicular. We can actually just draw from center point to center point across this whole thing. And I'm going to draw a couple of them. We could do this with a rotational command, but it's pretty easy just to draw center to center. And now we have some references that we can snap to.
For Graham, I lost the line, so Can you repeat all above?
Say that again.
Yeah. So I'm stuck in the very beginning.
Do you have windows placed?
Yes.
Okay. Do you still see your windows?
Yes.
Okay, so we need to drop your cut. We need to drop your view range. Do you have a template on your left-hand side? Does it say view template?
Yes.
Okay, I want you to
Working, but yes.
okay, I want you to click into there, and I want you to go
Yeah.
down to what's called view range. Okay, it's about
Okay. Yeah.
okay, and then I want you to make that 1 for the cut plane at 1 foot.
Offset.
How do you get there if you don't have the template on the side?
Okay, good question. And I'm gonna go ahead. I'll click OK. By doing this, just so people that are using a template know, what I'm doing right now by unchecking this box is I'm saying, hey, I want this view range parameter to be outside of my template. It's going to live like a template doesn't even exist on it for the view range. Okay.
Mhm.
What that's going to do is it's going to enable me to show you how to use it if you don't have a template. So if you don't have a template, about 5 lines up above where that template is, you've got a view range edit button.
But I still have windows.
Are you at 1?
Yes.
How low did you place your windows? If you click on a window, why don't you go ahead and share your screen?
There, yeah. Wait a second. So dimension of the windows.
Are you sharing your screen?
Oh, wait a second.
What are we supposed to change the view range to?
The cut plane, we want it to be at 1 foot.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, so
Oh,
hit
sorry.
escape.
I think I share another screen.
You're sharing, I can see it. Hit escape.
Yeah, but it's another screen. Wait a second. How can
You're
I
sharing
share?
your Revit screen. And
Yeah,
you've
yeah,
got a
one-
window selected. Back to your Revit screen. You were there. Everything was there. Just go click on Revit in your taskbar. The bottom.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Sure.
You're already sharing.
Oh, you see now.
I see. I've seen it the whole time, man.
Oh, okay.
I'm
Okay.
trying to
Mhm.
talk you through it.
Okay.
All right, hit escape. That's what I was trying to get you at. Okay, let's go to that. Nice, use my initials. Let's go to your view template. So down where it says GMT, go down below that right there. Okay, scroll down. See, you have that unchecked. I was unchecking it just for the people that didn't have a view template
okay.
on. Now
Mhm.
click edit on that view range and let's see where you set it. Perfect. Now when you click OK and OK again, your windows should disappear. And they're not. So, I can't take control. Let's see. Can you click on a window for me? Just not one of the, not those ones. Mhm. I don't know why you're still seeing them. That's hit escape again. Go back to your view range, view template. Click that view range. Looks fine. Are you in wireframe? You're in hidden line, it looks like.
Yeah.
Base level. Click OK. Go to discipline, change it to coordination. I don't think that's going to change anything, but
Sorry?
Yeah, it's right there. Change that to coordination. Click OK. It shouldn't change anything, but it might. All right. Well, why don't you uncheck that view range from the right-hand side? Click OK. And then we'll go change it on the inside. It looks like something else is happening with it. So go to your left-hand side. There should be about 5 lines up above that you should see another view range right there. Down. It's got an edit button right there. Cut it at 0. Just make the top of it 1 foot 2. Like make it 1. Yeah. Now click. Okay, let's just do that for now. I don't know why it's holding that, but let's just do that. Draw lines diagonally across from the center point of those lines. So or of those walls. So detail line.
Say yes, I don't understand.
A detail line. So go to your annotate tab. At the top, your annotate tab.
Okay.
7th tab over. Right there. Yep. Nope.
Oh, okay.
Detail line, and we want to draw a line, just a straight line from one side center line to the other, and do it for all the walls. So inside center line, right there. There you go. From there to the inside center line there. Now hit escape once,
Okay.
and then do it again 6 more times.
Okay.
Okay. All right. Thank you. And then we'll change your cut plane back up, and we'll change it all back. But everything you'll be able to see your windows in a second. All right. So let's just go ahead and do this on his screen because you're sharing right now. Let's go ahead and change your cut plane. So Dimitri, let's go back to your hit escape to get out of that line mode. And then let's change that view range right there. Again, right now it's outside the template. So you can turn it in I don't care. Yeah, that's fine.
Okay.
Okay. All right. Now what we want to do is we want to use our align tool, and I'll take over from here. So I'll share my screen. All right. So can everyone see my screen? Kind of looks like a bicycle wheel that would be very bumpy to ride on. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and change my cut plane back up. So then that way I can see the windows. So I'm going to cut this back at 4 feet. Okay. And I'm going to turn my windows and my doors back on in my template.
You're changing the cut plane to 4 feet?
Yes, sir. So now, real simple, we want to use our align tool, and we're just going to go around the circle. So I'm going to use AL for align, or you can go and click modify and go to this tool right here. Now we want to make sure that multiple alignment is not on. What multiple alignment will do is, let's say I have a line here, and I've got these lines. If I use multiple alignment, I can click the bottom line and say, hey, I want all of these lines. And every click I make is going to say I'm aligning to the same spot. Okay. That's what multiple does. We want to make sure that that's off so that doesn't happen. Okay. So again, modify tab, line. Okay. And what we're going to do is we're going to end up clicking 24 times. Okay. And so again, when you align, it's where you want to align, then what you want to align. So we're always going to be clicking. We're going to start at the 6 o'clock position, and we're going to click this line. Then, again, make sure that multiple's off. Then the center of this door. Then this line, the center of the window. Next line, center of the window. And so on and so forth to get all these windows nicely centered in our 12-sided dwelling. And then there's the last click right there. And escape to exit. All right. Do we all have something that looks like this? Cool. So things are a lot cooler typically when you view them in 3D sometimes, right? I mean, I don't know. I like viewing things in 3D. So what we're gonna do is, I don't think by default we cleared all of our 3D views out of here. So let's go up and click this doghouse at the top. It's this default 3D view. And it's going to build just a brand new generic default 3D view. And now I can see, oh, what's going on here? I got another wall going way underneath me, down 20 feet. But you can see our little 3D house.
You got a
Pretty
second?
cool. Huh?
You got a second for me?
I do in 1 second.
All right.
So let me show you one more thing real quick. So Adam was asking a great question earlier about which way the window goes, right? And if you're not sure, which a lot of times I'm not sure until I see it for real, right? What we want to do is I want to take a section view and look through that. So you should have a section view that's facing north-south. If we go over and we take a section cut right through this window, we should be able to see. And again, it's kind of hard to see right here because you don't see the front wall, but you can see right here, there's the window slider. And it, for some reason, it doesn't allow us to flip it in this view. But if I flip it right here, and I go back to this view, I can see that that window is now on the outside, right on the right-hand side. The other thing, and I think we're working probably with course right now. If I go to my view template, where's that? Oh, it's because it's a section view. But let's check this off. I turn my view template off. Down here, you've got a coarse, medium, and fine button. And sometimes you will see more detail, not always. I was just checking to see if you could see a little bit more detail in fine, but it looks like it's the same in all the views. All right, so let's go ahead and look at it in 3D. Pretty cool. Again, let's take. I like this, but do these windowsills line up? Okay, they'll line up at 3 feet. Does this window header line up? Should we maybe try to see about centering that in the location in this window area? Or should we leave the sills the same height? It's up to you. I don't care.
Hey,
3D alignment.
how do you make I forgot to adjust the walls for 10 foot. How did you do that? Can you do that for me one more time? How do you,
So you can just, how tall are they? 20 feet right now?
Yeah,
How many
yeah.
people have 20-foot walls? Lots of you guys?
I do.
Okay, so by default, they were 20 feet. When I clicked, when I was drawing my wall over the top of the polygon that we drew, when I came in here, one thing I did that if you didn't catch this, when I clicked wall, I actually changed this height right here from 20 feet to 10 feet. If you didn't do it at the beginning, is it an issue? No, it's Revit. It doesn't give a crap. Okay. So let's look at our 3D view real quick. And I'm just going to go ahead and get to where you're at. something like that. Okay. So pretty simple. Let's go ahead and again, if you hover something and hit tab, what happens? All of them select, right, if they're connected. And we can just come over here in our height right here and change that to 10 feet. Okay, and actually, let's go ahead and make this one 11'6", just to give us a little bit more height above that window. All right, are we ready for a challenge? So here's where I'm stopping the lecture for today. If people want to sign off, you're more than welcome to. I am going to put a roof on this. It's kind of a little tricky. It's a little bit fun. If you want to hang out for it, by all means. But if you don't, this is not a requirement. Okay. So, again, it will be recorded. It will be in the video. But this is not something that if you don't feel like you're ready to tackle that yet, that's totally cool. Okay. So, but for those of you that do want to try this and put a roof on, let's give it a go, right? All right. So I like roofs in floor plan. I think it's easiest to draw them here, and then we can take a look at the pitches and the elevation of it. But the biggest thing about roofs, and the thing that I like to make sure that I do, is I create a roof by a footprint. Now you can obviously see there's a lot of different ways to create a roof, right? There's lots of different options here. Is what I'm teaching you the only way? No. Okay. I do find it to be the simplest way, but it's definitely by all means not the only way. Okay. So one thing that we've used a lot tonight, and again, this is why we're doing this, keep hammering home the tools, right? So I want to use the footprint of this, right? Well, knowing tools that we've already drawn, if I try to draw a detail line, I could use this wall tool right here and try to pick some walls or something, right? I could get the center line right there, center line and all the center lines, and there's a detail line, right? Pretty cool. Let's look at that from the standpoint of a roof. Okay, so if we are drawing a roof and we choose a footprint, what might we be able to use? Okay, yes, I'm going to move it to level 2 because I don't have anything going above there. But again, by default, it wants you to draw the boundary line. Okay, so what do I want to do? It's already drawn, right? Why draw something that's already there? So I'm going to use this pick a line tool, and I'm going to pick the center line of that wall all the way around. Now, one thing you'll notice is right now by default we have a 0 foot 0 inch offset. So that means if I created that roof, it's going to go right to the edge of that wall and stop. Is that how roofs are typically designed? No, they got some type of an overhang, right? How much overhang do we want?
14 inches.
14 inches. Perfect. I was going for somewhere between 12 and 16 inches. So nailed it. All right. So I gave that an offset of 1 foot 2. Now we already selected all these other items. Okay. So we probably should have done the offset first, but that's okay. We don't need to get out of the command. We can just go to here, grab this line, hit tab. Come on. It doesn't want to do it. I'm sorry. Let's go ahead and step back one step. And we're still in the roof, right? But now this time before we pick this actual line, we're going to go ahead and put the offset in. What this allows us to do is determine which side of the wall the offset's going to be on, right? Because right now, if I hover over the center of this wall, that offset could either be outside or inside, right? So I want to set it outside, and once I'm here, I want to hit tab. There we go. Just like that. So now it's got a 14-inch offset. Now, I don't really care about the slope right now. A lot of people will try to get the slope all perfect from this view. And yes, you can do it. But let's be easy on ourselves and just hit OK. And let's go to the 3D view. And it automatically created a slope for us, okay? We didn't have to, I don't know why there's a gap of, so, now let's just move all these up to the roof, or I can move the roof down. Let's get the top of this wall. Oh, let me just have it. To do that. But I can move the whole roof if it is off, and I can move the whole roof with my move command in a section view. There we go. Drop it 6 inches. And now pretty good. Okay. So if I did want to change the pitch of this roof, I like doing it here and going to my 3D view. And let's see. Let's go to this is a yes, attach that. I don't know why they want to attach to become that. You should get a, let's see if you need to be in this view. Edit footprint. You should be able to change your slope right here. Base offset -6. Here's your slope right here. So this is 9/12. We could change this to like 4 inches over 12 inches. Okay, and that's going to drop my slope right like that. So maybe I need something that's, 12 inches over 4 inches. I don't think it'll make it. No, I won't do it. Super steep. I think you can go 12/12 though. Oh, 1/12. Nice. 12 inches over 12 inches. There you go. Nice and 45. Big old roof there. Okay. So you can do whatever you want, right? You can really crank that up there. Maybe I want it to be something ridiculous, right? Or maybe I just want it to be a barely rounded, I like 1/6. Just a little nice flat slab, or maybe I want 3/12. 3/12. That's 3 inches over 12 inches. There you go. So something like that. Pretty cool, pretty easy. Okay, so there's definitely other ways to draw roofs. Okay, but that's a pretty simple one. And in this version, I don't like in 24. So you used to be able to draw it by footprint and then click on this and edit this mode. And when you click the edit footprint, it would actually go and leave this whole geometry here, and it would give you a drag arrow, and you could just drag the roof up or drag it down. It was pretty slick. But it looks like they've taken that feature away for some reason. Maybe they only have that feature in the draw by slope. Okay. So again, they change a few things once in a while, but yeah, there you go. Any questions on that? I know it's kind of cool seeing things come together. It's a it's a pretty awesome program that I mean, and we can change all types of stuff. Here, maybe I want this to be a wood rafter. Like I can change all my material types. I can change, and this is ooh, there we go. That's what I want. Now let's look at this in shaded. Now I got a glass roof. Pretty cool. So you can do whatever you want. We could even make these walls. Let's see if we can do this. Let's see. I don't know if they've got a here. I don't want to do that. But you can make it a full curtain wall system and make it all glass and stuff. So it's pretty cool. You can do anything you want. The problem with a curtain wall is it doesn't behave the same way as a normal wall. So any element that you put in it, it deletes it and says you got to put in curtain wall windows or curtain wall something, curtain wall components, not wall components. So
Can you show me where you entered the overhang for the roof?
sure. So it looks like this too in the slope glaze. So I've got a slope in here of 3/12, but we could change that to like 12 inches over 12 inches and get a 45-degree slope. Like raised it up. It's weird. Grid 2. Oh, it's a secondary grid dimension. I see what it is. Interesting. So this actually allows you to have multiple different angles inside of the glass. So you could have like an angle of your exterior and an angle of your interior and make some crazy stuff. I don't know. But everything's going to have its own parameters, just depending on what type of a roof it is or
Where
what.
did you adjust the overhang on the roof? My roof is flush to the walls. Where did you adjust the overhang?
Perfect.
Yep.
So if I click this edit footprint button,
Where was that?
here, so I'm going to select the roof. And if I do this edit footprint button, once the roof is selected, I should be able to tab and select all of those. And overhang define slope. It doesn't let me do it in here. Let's go back and look at it in plan view and see if it allows us to do that. So now, right now, we're not even actually seeing our roof because the view range is cutting us at 7'6". So we're going to raise this up to 20 feet. And I'm going to cut us up at like 20 feet as well. And now I can see that. So there's the roof. If I edit the footprint, just looking to see if you could find a way to change. This might be one of the few things that you really need to set at the beginning. So let's go ahead and you can do it here. So one thing you could do, if yours is like this, yours is probably just like this right now. So, I mean, yours is probably just right at the edge of the wall. Is that correct? Or maybe the center point of the wall?
Probably, sorry.
All right.
So
So
that's what I had where it was flush.
okay.
Because I was thinking it would be like offsetting
So
in
right
AutoCAD.
here. So if we click this boundary line and actually, can we tab this whole thing and click boundary line? Once it's set, it doesn't really want to. 'Cause I can give you a new offset.
Yeah, that's how I managed to fix it.
With a new one. Because yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, you could do it this way with creating a new offset. The other thing you could do, scale this whole thing. Let's see if this works. And I just scaled it a hair bigger, so I made an offset. You see that? You want to do that again? So I set all of this back. So Tom, check this out. This is what I want you to do. Okay. I want you
Can I share
to
my screen?
let me finish talking and let me share.
Sorry.
Are you following along?
No, that's why I wanted to share my screen so we were on the at the same spot. But
Okay. Let me explain what's going on here. Okay.
go ahead.
So if you click into that roof and you edit the boundary line, if you selected all of your wall elements or where the wall connects to the roof, right? And you wanted to make that bigger, okay, I could come around here and one by one select individual lines and drag them out and make them a little bit longer. But instead of doing that, I'm going to take the whole thing and come to my scale, set my midpoint, my end point, which is here, and that's going to set what my base size is. And then I could just pull this out an extra, what it was, what is it, 15.4? So it was 14 inches, so 17. I don't know why I didn't want to snap. Oh, there it was. And then I could hit the checkbox and my roof would now be extended. And if I go back to my 3D view, you can see that that overhang is there.
Okay, thank you.
Hey, Graham.
Yes.
So for our homework turn in tonight is just like a screenshot of the little igloo house and the other house, fine.
And if it's too far apart, you can just grab it and move it. So it can be in one screenshot. If you want to take two, I don't care.
Okay.
Something like that. Something like that. I would like the screenshot to be in plan view. Right? So this plan view with the dimensions, right? So just move your little house over or take two, but I do want to see the screenshot to include this work. Okay. And if it's not all the way there yet, let's go ahead and you can either turn it in right now and I'll give you like 75% credit for it. You'll get 1.5, or hold on to it, finish it, and you can get the full credit. Okay. Last but not least, I want to switch gears real quick. We have a lot of really, really good submissions. I would say as a whole, the submissions on your BIM technology focuses have been, I would say 70% of you are hitting, if not exceeding the mark. Doing some great research, good write-ups. That other 30% of you, if that's you, you will probably start to see comments coming back on your homework. You'll probably see things with zeros. Okay. This is a class for you to learn and understand. If you just read something, spit out a sentence back to me that says work sharing is really cool, work users can collaborate with each other. Okay, that's an answer, but is that a good answer? That barely touches what work sharing is, right? How does it work? What are work sets? What are I mean, we need more than 2 answers and you've got like 20 words a piece. Okay. So some of you are great. Most of you are great. Okay. The people that are slacking, please try to show me that you know what the concept is. Right. So any questions on that? Okay, so if there's an issue, you'll be seeing comments back. On the flip side of things, okay, I want to give some credit where credit is due. And if you go above and beyond, you will see an extra half point in there. Okay. I have no problem giving some more credit for people that put in the effort. Okay. So some of you may have already seen that it reflected in your grades from the last assignments. Okay. It's not going to be every time, but if you're one of the top two in the class and you've got, the top two submissions of that item, I have no problem giving some extra points. So that being said, if you're one that is getting a 1 or a 2 or a 0, let's put in that extra, and you can even put in a little more and beyond and really bump your grade. Okay, so let's just put some effort into it. Two word, oh, work sharing is cool. Like, what does that mean? Right? Yeah, I know it's cool. But why is it cool? Show me what makes it cool, right? You've got people in real time that we've got, I've got engineers on the design team making changes. As soon as they sync, I'm seeing it. I've got, Revit, I've got mechanical models, I've got fire sprinkler models, all of them. When they make changes and publish, we all see it. It used to never be like this, right? So just please put a little effort in. Again, a lot of you are doing a great job. But there are a few that I really need a little bit more than a half a sentence. Okay. Any questions, comments, concerns? I will make sure the video today. So what had happened last time is it looked like Revit had, or Bluebeam, not Bluebeam, sorry, looked like Zoom had crashed. Apparently I chose it to record to a cloud, and then that caused all types of issues. So I'm just recording it to my computer. If I need to post it on YouTube, I'll do that and bring it back. But I don't want you guys having to have passwords to get into things. I tried to upload it straight, and it's like, okay, it worked for some people, but not others. So I know it's a little bit more of a hassle on my end, but at the same, like, I've got to let my computer run and process and all that. But I'd rather have the file locally than have Zoom control how you guys see it and what passwords you have to use every week. And it's a new, so anyhow, I will try to get that up tomorrow, and I'll shoot you a message when that's up. So thank you guys for your time tonight. It was fun learning to draw some new stuff. So I'm looking forward to the next couple weeks and what you guys get to start adding to your repertoire of skills. Because once you get a few weeks in, it starts to become real. Is it starting to become fun? Is it fun? Is it tedious? There's some things that are tricky. I'll get that, right? I mean, the tab thing is really handy. Why it doesn't default to a center line, I don't know, right? There's some little annoying things, but as a whole, it's a pretty awesome program. And it's pretty easy to get out of it what you want, as long as you understand what it's looking for you to make that happen. So
Yeah, it feels like the drawing portion is great. Like I think we're kind of running through that. I don't know if everybody else feels the same way, but when we started talking about the view template and how to manipulate that,
sure,
I feel like it was really easy to get lost.
It is, and that's why we do bits and pieces on it here and there. That's not the majority of this class. The view template is there for us to be able to be efficient in what you're trying to do. If you create a section view, I don't want to go and set up all these settings twice. Ultimately, what it's allowing you to do is set it up once and then apply it elsewhere, right? So, so it makes a lot of sense. Ultimately, here's the biggest thing, Adam, is, am I still sharing a screen?
Yes, you are.
I want you to take your view template off. And I want you to use your VG and just try to understand just with your visibility graphics for the week. Okay. So take the template off, turn things on and off in here, and then get familiar with this. I know that we try to start templates so then we can add things to them and make it easy and make things colored. But this is at the root of everything is this visibility graphics. A template is just something controlling which ones are on and off depending on what drawing it's assigned to, right? So, but
And
this
you
is,
got there from VG.
yes, VG. Or up
There it is.
here in view, very, very right next to view templates in the view tab is this visibility graphics. Okay. And so
Gotcha.
that's all of the template is all based on this type of stuff. So understanding what turning off model catas do, what turning off annotations do, right? Applying filters. We can do all of this inside a template, but we can also do it on the outside. The template just allows us to quote unquote save it and apply it elsewhere
Gotcha.
without having to rebuild it.
I think part of the reason where, or at least where I got lost, kind of connecting the dots now, I still had the view template on. So when I went into VG, everything was grayed out.
Correct. And that's and
Yeah.
so
So,
and
just-
you just it's the same, it literally is the same menu. If it's here, right, and I go to here, if I hit VG and it's grayed, I know automatically, okay, everything's controlled by the view template.
Yeah,
And then it's
template.
the same thing. And then it's once you're here, it's the same black boxes. You just now have activated them, and it will update the multiple views that the view template is applied
Oh,
to.
gotcha.
Okay.
Okay.
So like on my projects, I've got, a wall rough-in template. I've got, like, on the hospital job I'm working on right now, I got 6 floors, 3 areas, 30 sheets an area, so 90 sheets, 100 sheets a floor, so like 600 sheets of just wall rough-in. And each one of those has different scales and different, so it's so hard to imagine wrapping my head around not using templates,
Sure.
considering, right? But ultimately, it all comes from every template I build, unless I'm inheriting it from another. And I can actually take templates from one project to another. So I bring all my templates from one project over. I just transfer my project standards and bring my templates in, and away I go. I'm not having to rebuild them every time. So it really helps that way. But everything, all of my templates start this way. They start here with none, right? I go to my VG. I say, I don't want to see my walls, I want to see them transparency at 40% and halftone. Okay, let's do that. Cool. Okay, now you can see through them. You can see that window, right? Okay. Now, I like the look at this, right? Oh, you know what? The roof. I'd like to be able to see through that roof. Let's go back to my visibility graphics, go to my roof. And same thing, maybe I'll take the transparency and make it 60% and halftone my roof. Now I can start to see through it, right?
Cool.
So
Yeah.
all these little settings I do on the outside before a template's ever built, right? And then we just go here, view templates, create template from current view, and I just inherit all the properties. And then I apply it elsewhere. So just understand, play with VG, understand that, and then it's just the same thing applied to multiple views, multiple sheets, multiple schedules, multiple everything. And what we started with was a quote unquote project template, right? Which that's also a little confusing because I had you guys build a template so that way we weren't churning through all the garbage over here, right?
Yeah.
So, but that is also a template, and that kind of gets confusing. So I understand that templates and the word template can definitely be confusing in this project. Ultimately, though, template is just a group of save settings.
Yeah, I think it's not so much what things are called, but to your point earlier, where it's not so much like teaching us how to use the software, but kind of how it works.
Right.
My
And what it's
my
looking
immediate
for.
right, my immediate thought process was like, oh, maybe these settings in VG were locked, and that's why everything was grayed out.
Sure.
But because there was a template applied, I can
And that's
change
going to
those
be,
things
and
through the
again,
template.
now that you know that and you've seen it a couple times,
Yep.
oh yeah, first thing, right? If anything's grayed out, there's something else controlling it. What else is controlling it? This template, right?
I was
Or-
having that same problem, so thanks for bringing that up.
No, and this is why I like having these types of discussions, is we can learn from each other and each other's, struggles, and or what really helped, right? So yeah, no, that's great. And way to bring that up. I really like that, Adam. Again, and if there's any other things that you guys are struggling with or don't understand, let's bring it up. You can shoot me an email, say, hey, I'd like to go over this in class next week. No problem. Or I might say, hey, can you be at office hours at 5:30? Or, depending on how complex it is, it could be a 5-minute thing, it could be a half-hour thing, right? It doesn't.
Oh,
So if you've got
Sam,
something
real,
you
real
don't
quick,
get,
I have something just, I
please.
think it'll be super quick. Sometimes you need to check a green box and
Yes.
the X is up. Why is that?
You're in a command. Okay, so you're still seeing my screen?
yes.
Correct.
Let me go and do like this one here. We'll just do a hatching command. This gets everybody. Annotate region, filled region. And I'll just say I want this little area to be hatched. Okay. And now I'm here. And this is what happens is somewhere along the line, you'll go to a different view. Okay. Maybe intentionally or unintentionally. And you're like, what's going on? I can't see anything. And sometimes you won't know to click back there. Like I just clicked back there because I knew to click on it. But if I didn't know to click on it, I don't know how to know what's going on. So here's a little bit of insight. If you're stuck, first thing you need to do is look and see if there's any type of a teal bar. Okay. Any type of a teal, green, blue bar right here. If there's something here, that means you've got a modifier tab open somewhere else that is waiting for you to give it input.
Yeah, I think that's what was happening to me. Yeah.
Okay. So, and if you don't hit the checkbox or the X, you cannot get out of it. This is the one command, and not just this command, but like the commands that open up this window, you can't hit escape to get out of it. It doesn't work. Right. So
Right.
that's
Control Z does. That's what I was doing.
Control Z will get yourself out of it. It will.
Yeah.
However, if you're stuck, okay, always go. If you've got any type of a bar, first off, okay, modify tab. Go open your modifier tab, and there's probably a message waiting there for you.
Copy. All right.
Okay. Same thing with like if we get into grouping elements or making we probably won't get into assemblies. But grouping elements, same type of thing happens where like it's waiting for that last command, but you just have to check it. But unless you do,
Right.
you'll never get out.
I didn't mean to step on you there, Adam. I thought maybe you were
Oh, you're
finished.
good, man.
No, that was great. Thank you,
Oh,
Todd, for the
yeah.
segue.
Yeah.
One more thing too, because this is the one thing that Todd, you're able to do. Okay. So Control Z is a great tool, right? I use Control Z probably 70 times a day. You click one item wrong, you move something, you delete whatever, right? It's my go-to. However, Control Z will never allow you to finish that command.
Copy.
Right? So as much as I want to back out of it, I can't get through with my task with just Control Z.
Sure,
So-
and that's where I got backed up. Exactly.
So that being said, anytime there's a teal bar, there's probably something in your modify tab waiting for a response. Cool. Great question. Again,
Yeah,
things like
fun.
that are stuff that I don't really overlook because I know that they're there, but it's something that I'm not struggling with it necessarily. So I'm not, making that connection that, oh, well, maybe somebody did. And I also have a bunch more tabs up here. It's also hard to see.
It's second nature to you, man.
It is. It is. Well, and
Muscle
after a
memory.
decade,
Yeah.
it better be.
Yeah, absolutely. We appreciate the tips. Thank you.
Absolutely. So if you have issues with anything like that, navigation stuff, just you're stuck inside of a menu somewhere, please don't be shy to say something, share your screen, and let's evaluate. Because I can't help you if you're stuck and I don't know it. And the only thing that's happening is I'm continuing to teach while you sit there.
Well, I don't mind because I go back.
I know you do, but I'm saying that
Yeah.
if you don't bring it up now, it's 10 minutes down the line, then it's 15 minutes, now it's 20 minutes, right? And now it's like
Right.
all of the rest of these steps that you could have done, you're not doing because you couldn't get out of this one task, right?
Right,
Or maybe
right.
you got out of it, but you couldn't complete it, right? So now you can't move forward because you don't have that hatch there or whatever it is.
Right, right. Appreciate it.
Awesome.
So,
Thanks, guys. See you guys next week.
hey, everybody. We're
Have
gonna
a good evening.
All
stay
right.
around.
Hey, Grant, you got a quick second for mine?
Sure. Yeah. You want to share your screen?
Please. Oops.
I'm gonna stay and watch. That's all right.
You see it?
I do see it.
I was having trouble centering the windows. I went to on this
Okay.
one.
Okay. Well, that's because you're not seeing your windows. Right now, we're only seeing the opening of where that window might have been because I don't believe your windows are, or maybe they're on, but maybe your cut's too low. So let's go change your cut plane. First off, that's your first thing we want to check right there. No view template on. Perfect. Change that. Click that edit button. 2 up right there. So you're at 6 feet. Okay, good. All right. So we should be seeing it.
Yeah,
So
that's
now
what I
let's go
thought.
ahead. Okay. So again, half of Revit is troubleshooting. Why am I not seeing this thing? What category is turned off here? What happened here? What workset was this on? Was it on a different phasing? I mean, the list goes on and on. And unfortunately, I do this for a living and I still deal with this daily. Okay. So let's go ahead and click OK. Now let's go and look at your VG and go look at your windows. Did you ever put your bigger windows in?
I did. I did, and I was a little behind, so
You didn't. Okay. So I think your windows might just be off. So just go type in W and it'll pop you down.
Yeah, I thought I turned it back.
And there you turn the doors on, but you didn't turn the windows on. So there you go. Let's turn the window on. Boom, they show up. Now hit your align. Again, it's wire we want to align, then what?
Okay.
Perfect. But yeah, it's hard to center the window if you're just seeing the opening, right? It's not going to move the opening without the window actually dictating where that opening needs to be.
Perfect. Thank you so much.
Absolutely. And last but not least, center your door.
Oh yeah.
There you go.
Cool. Thank you.
Yep. Thank you.
Have a good night.
Right on. See you guys next week.
Hey, can I ask you how you did the thing with the roof overhang? Like I have my roof on and everything, but I missed that part when you were explaining.
Sure. You want to share it again? We'll just draw your roof from the beginning. We'll just draw a new one. You have to. That was so there's 2 ways to look at this overhang thing. The first way is from the beginning. I'm going to stop your share there, Tom.
Oh yeah. Sorry.
Oh, you're good. I'll take care of it. There you go.
Yeah. Hold on, let me share real quick.
Yeah, go ahead and share your screen.
Okay, so like if I go to 3D view or whatever, it shows it. I guess it does show the overhang here, like in the because you can see it kind of.
Let's see if your cut plane is too low. So let's go back to your floor plan. Let's see it in your normal view.
Yep.
So are you saying you're not seeing it here? Because you're not even seeing your roof here right now. So go ahead and hit escape.
Okay.
You've got a scope box selected. Now go down to your left-hand side and do you have a view template on this or is it scroll down? We'll find out. So you right there. So DM working plan.
Yeah.
Click that. All right, and then scroll down to view template on your right-hand side. So in the actual, no, not there. Go to your next menu. Yeah, there you go. So view range is off. So perfect. I just wanted to check that. So go ahead and hit OK or cancel. You can leave it in or out. I don't care. But if you check that, we need to change it right now. If you leave it unchecked, we'll change it on the backside.
Okay, so I just edit it right here.
Yep. And now I went back to 20 and 15. So 20 at the top, 15 at the cut. Because right now you're not even seeing 10 foot up to see the beginning of your roof.
Okay, 20 at the
20 at the top, 15 at the cut, yeah. I mean, you can cut at 22 either way. Like, that's fine. As long as your cut is up there. Right now, you're cutting it at 1 foot. So you're really only seeing your view was allowing you to see up to 7.6, but you really were looking from 1 foot down. So you really weren't seeing anything above a foot. So now your cut plane, you want to go to 15. You're just still not going to see all your roof.
Where's the cut plane at?
The second one.
Oh,
the
that
one that you have
Okay,
10.
15.
Change that
Okay,
to
yeah,
15.
all right, 15.
Because your wall is at 10, right? So we want to be above the roof height.
Yeah.
So go ahead and
Okay.
click OK. OK again, and now you should see your roof.
Oh, that's so sweet. Right on.
There you go. Now,
Okay.
and then you could make that roof a little bit transparent or something, so you could see through it.
Yeah,
So
Thanks for
lots of
asking.
options there.
but that's what you're looking for?
Exactly. Yeah, that's how you get that way up high. So
Okay.
perfect. Yeah, looks great.
All right. And that
So,
did and
just
that's
a screenshot from just zoom out just a hair, or just go Z.
Oh, what happened to my windows right here? What the heck?
You can, well, because you raised your cut plane. So now,
Oh.
our cut is at 15 feet. So if right now you're looking in what's called hidden line, go ahead and go back to your DM working plan template. And I want you to uncheck model display. So 2 down from there. Oh, about 5 up right there. Oh,
There it is. Okay, uncheck that.
uncheck it. So this is now going to live outside our template. Okay. So which means in the bottom left, you've got a white sheet of paper and you've got a little 3D box. No, not in your browser. Sorry.
Oh, right
Bottom
here.
left of your white window, right underneath your house.
Oh, yeah.
Right there. So change that right there. So that's going to change your detail level. I thought we unchecked it. Oh, we just changed. No, it's fine. You can do the next one. We just unchecked the model display. Now you can change it shaded or something else, or hidden line if you change it to, or change it to wireframe. If you change it to wireframe, you'll see all your windows.
Oh, gotcha.
Because now
Oh,
we can
that's
see
sweet.
through everything, right?
Yeah,
if you're in hidden
yeah.
line, it's gonna, if you've got a wall above that window and you're not cutting through it, you're just gonna see that wall, right?
Yeah.
There's nothing. Now, if we made your walls transparent, you could see through it, right? You could see the windows without having to go to a wireframe mode. We could do that in a shaded or a what's called a hidden line.
Yeah.
So
This is what
nice.
I've been working on. Just
I
digging
bet
around.
I bet you have.
Yeah.
Right on, guys. Okay, well, I'll catch
All
you
right,
guys
If
next
this
week.
is what you're looking for, I'll just screenshot this and send it to you then.
Yeah, screenshot it. I'd zoom in like kind of as close as you can.
Me.
I'd probably click it 1 more or 2 more forward. There you go. Perfect. Take that screenshot and call it good.
All right, thanks, brother. Bye.
Absolutely. Thanks, guys. Have a good night. And Leslie, for the guy. I didn't mean to call you a guy.